Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us for this fireside chat today. In the next 20 minutes or so, I will be in conversation with two esteemed guests from Citizens Energy Group, Curtis Popp, VP of Customer Operations, and Jeff Ford, Director of Billing and Customer Service. We'll talk about how Citizens Energy Group accelerated their customer service transformation with a new, flexible, and agile customer information system powered by the Infosys PACE pre-configured and accelerated solution on Oracle C2M. To start with, let me tell you a little bit about Citizens Energy Group. In 1887, yes, 1887, that is 133 years back, Indianapolis civic leaders set up a natural gas utility as a public trust, solely for the benefit of the inhabitants of Marion County in Indiana. Today, the company thrives as Citizens Energy Group, a diverse utility company providing natural gas, water, steam, chilled water, and wastewater treatment services to over 400,000 homes and businesses. CEG serves over 800,000 residents in and around Indianapolis, Indiana, for 133 years. The utility industry is facing heightened expectations from an increasingly involved consumer, a dynamic regulatory environment, and higher social stewardship responsibility, as was made evident in the ongoing pandemic. As utilities try to address these through rapid digital transformation, in many cases, their legacy systems, especially the customer service systems, are unable to keep pace with the level of changes that are required. Most utilities dread planning and executing customer service transformation programs, primarily because these programs can be complex, they can run over budget, and are usually over schedule. It can take 6 to 9 months or even more for most utilities to even stabilize to normal levels of operation after such a complex transformation. However, there are quite a few outliers. Some enterprises, like Citizens Energy Group, have changed this norm with very detailed planning, impeccable execution, and apt risk management. Of course, led by an exceptional set of leaders and sponsors. We were fortunate to closely partner with Citizens Energy as they plan to navigate their next in their digital customer transformation journey. In addition to our combined team's pride in this phenomenal success, personally, I think this was my most memorable takeaway. This was shipped to my home by the Citizens Energy leadership team. This was very thoughtful of you, Curtis and Jeff. This memento occupies a special place of pride in my office. We truly appreciate you making the effort to ship it to our homes, even in the middle of a pandemic. Thank you for this. With this, let me formally welcome you to this chat session. Curtis and Jeff, it's a pleasure to have you with us. A very happy New Year to both of you.
Yeah, Happy New Year to you, Dash, and thanks for having us.
Thank you. So let me start with you, Curtis. For the longest time, utilities in the US and probably all over the world have had a one-way relationship with their consumers. But in the recent times, we notice that there is an expectation that the consumers have from the utilities. In your opinion, how have the expectations of your consumers changed in recent times?
Well, I think there's a few things at play here. I mean, there's always been the situation where customers' expectations of vendors in general have evolved. And you're right that typically utilities have had kind of a one-way interaction with their customers. And, and be perfectly frank, most of our interactions with customers, start off with there's some sort of a problem that needs to be resolved. People typically don't call a utility company because they're pleased with us. There's typically most of our interactions with customers start because of some sort of an issue, and so that's part of the driver. The other part of it is in this day and age, and everybody's on social media. I think companies are realizing how quickly reputations can be damaged very quickly, what right or wrong. A lot of pain can be inflicted on your organization because of a bad experience. So I think utilities are starting to approach customer service in general, are starting to approach customer service a little bit differently, and they're putting more emphasis on it, partially because of evolving customer expectations. But I think the other part of it is also companies are realizing that there's a real value proposition to delivering good customer service. There's a link between bottom line results and excellent customer service.
And keeping that in core, obviously you had to go through this journey, and there are many takeaways that you would have. Jeff, how important was this transformation for Citizens Energy? Anything specific that you would like to share from your experience?
Well, certainly, the importance of the transformation is we've implemented a stable, state-of-the-art customer information system. We have a customer information system now that has a large customer base that will support ongoing investment in enhancements and upgrades. It's a system that will provide us a foundation from which to expand choices and options for our customers. I think you can recall, Dash, our transformation really started 5 years ago, around 2015. At that time, we were operating a CIS system that was 15 years old. It was heavily customized. It was becoming costly to operate and support. And at that time, the upgrade path for our CIS was really uncertain. So, we began a process for assessment and selection that I think was probably as rigorous, and really the duration was as long as the actual implementation itself. And at the conclusion of that assessment, that rigorous assessment and selection process, we selected C2M as our new CIS system, and Infosys as the integrator that would help lead us through that implementation. So in October of 2018, we began that process of implementation. It was a 22-month long effort. And in just this past July 2020, we went live on the system, on schedule, on time, and under budget. So, and then, like as you said, within a very short period of time thereafter, within a month or two, our contact center was performing at pre-implementation levels. Our billing accuracy was above 99%. Our timeliness was above 95%. And so now, after 4 months of post-go live stabilization, we're confident we can refocus our efforts on new choices and options for our customers, continuous process improvement, and as Curtis said, delivering excellent support and service to our customers.
Thanks, Jeff. And you put it very well. And by the way, those are unbelievable numbers and matrices, right? That are hard to believe. But you put it very well, saying a lot of pre-planning, a lot of thinking before you jump into this has kind of contributed to this success. And we saw that. We saw that during the execution, during our partnership, that you had planned so many things, so many different scenarios, and that's what landed us with so much success. Curtis, what were some of the top business challenges that you were trying to address in this journey? Can you highlight a few?
Well, sure. I mean, like Jeff mentioned, we had been operating on, this is the obvious one, is that we've been operating on a system for over 20 years. So it was end of life. And the reality is, CIS systems evolve, and it was fundamentally, it was just time to go to a modern system. But then you put that in the context of where we were at from a customer service experience, and there were a lot of things that we couldn't do with the legacy system that going to a new system, going to C2M, is going to enable us to do. A lot of self-service functionality and a lot of enhancements on the customer front that we're going to be able to do with a modern day system. So that's first and foremost. We didn't approach this with it's going to pay for itself in 2 years, 5 years. That wasn't what's doing it. First of all, there was a business imperative that we needed to have a modern system. But if we're going to go to a new system, we really need it to help facilitate improved customer service.
I remember meeting you, Curtis, and we talked about how critical it is to keep the business outcome as the center of our goal, and kind of rally everything else around it. And I think you put it very well, and that I think throughout this program, you kept those business outcomes as the key goals for yourself. Now, when you have such a strategic initiative going on and you pick a partner, obviously there are a few things that you consider your partner to bring to the table. Can you share a little bit of what were those key elements that you were looking for in your partner, and what were your key expectations from Infosys as we started walking into this program?
Sure. Well, on something of this magnitude, we all select vendors day in, day out. We on different projects and different services. But on something of this size, you're really not just picking a vendor. You're looking for a partner. And so then you think about what are the key elements of a true partnership? What are the things that are important to you? Things that we came to value with, I think, with Infosys was, I've never read your mission, vision, and value statements, but I'm going to guess that your values are very, very similar to Citizens. There was a great alignment there. And the reason I believe that is, as the project progressed, it became very, very clear that folks from Infosys, they began to value our customers and the relationship that we have with our customers in very much the same way. They became their customers. And that may seem like something small, but when you're working late at night on this project and there's an issue that needs to be resolved, people that are valuing the same thing or you are going to have the same commitment to task. But one of the things that really sold me on Infosys early on when we were going through the selection process for a system integrator, Jeff and I were having a conversation, and he said to me that when they were looking at, they were talking to references, one of the things that was said about Infosys was they will do what they say they're going to do, that they have high integrity. And that's so critically important. This is not a thing where you skimp and you just try and find the person or the group that's good enough. Somebody that's going to follow through, somebody that's going to take this serious from day one and have the same level of commitment as you would expect from your own employees. That's just invaluable.
Thanks, Garis. And that's so interesting to hear. You did not talk about technical capabilities. You did not talk about domain knowledge. You talked about value system. I think at the end of the day, the two teams working together to share a common value system, things happen, right? And we totally agree with that approach. And thank you for giving us this opportunity. It was great to work with you. Jeff, may I request you to share maybe 3 key takeaways from this multi-year systems and business transformation program as you went through this journey?
Sure. It's hard to limit it maybe to 3. There are so many takeaways. We could talk all day long probably. But I would say, if I thought about, what's kind of a recipe for success, what are the primary ingredients? I would say, the first, good planning. I thought we had done some very good planning collaboratively. We certainly had a detailed, well-defined scope that was well managed throughout the project. We had a detailed statement of work to support that scope that if there were questions we could refer back to. We had detailed methodical plans to accomplish the work. We had an overall project plan that was very detailed in, I think, probably around 30 sub-plans to support the overall project plan, things like a human resource plan, a risk plan, an infrastructure plan, training plans, test plans, just to name a few. So very good planning all throughout the project. And those plans, we referred, weekly and daily to those plans, and through the execution of the program. I would say probably the second, ingredient that I would think of, in addition to good planning, is obviously good execution. You've got to be able to execute on those plans. In this program, we had very well-defined monthly deliverables that individuals were accountable for providing. The team was very focused on the integrity of the schedule without sacrificing, quality or scope. We were able to leverage, as Dash, you said, we were able to leverage the Infosys methodology, the implementation methodology, the pre-configured solutions, the things like the parallel billing engine, the RPAs. We were able to leverage the tools that Infosys brought to the program very effectively. And I would say, in terms of execution, the team kind of managed this project and executed this project, not like one 22-month-long project, but rather they managed it like 22-month-long projects, each month built upon the prior month. So it was like 22 projects that built upon each other. So very good execution, but in order to, you can have a good plan, you can have excellent execution, but in order to do that, you have to have a good team. And so Citizens invested significantly on team members. We assigned internal utility industry experts. We had managers of our organization that were committed full-time to the team, and we backfilled those positions with other individuals. So we had a very strong internal team that was empowered to make decisions and execute on those decisions. And then, of course, we had an excellent, capable, experienced integrator partner in Infosys, who's, as Curtis said, whose culture really matched our own. Early on, we knew that we could trust Infosys to do what they said they would do, and it was clear early on that our Infosys partners, were as committed as we were to the team's objectives. And then, of course, we had very supportive executive teams. Curtis as our project sponsor, an executive steering team. We had a project success committee that included individuals, executives from both Infosys and Oracle that helped remove obstacles for the team and to provide additional support for the team. So again, to summarize, I would say, for me, the key takeaways, the key ingredients are, good planning, good execution, and a great team.
Fantastic. So Jeff, my takeaway here is meticulous planning, ruthless execution, and a great team with an amazing executive sponsor. Right?
Absolutely.
That kind of brought this home. Now, when you go through a journey like this, there has to be a lot of ups and downs. There has to be a lot of challenges, a lot of good moments. Would you like to share, Jeff, a few noteworthy moments that left a lasting impression on you?
Well, for me, there are good and there are some bittersweet. I would say, at the conclusion of our assessment and selection process, I think it was probably the end of May of 2018 when we, after all of the evaluations, all of the demonstrations, all of the reference calls that we made when we made the selection of C2M as our CIS solution, and then Infosys as our integrator partner. That is a memory that will not fade quickly, because we understood the gravity of the decision. We understood that we were setting the path for CIS for years, and really probably even decades, for Citizens Energy Group. So we knew how important that decision was. So that day is a memorable one. And I think the only other one that rivals that is the actual go live on July 27th, 2020, the precise day that we predicted that we would go live. We succeeded, and that was a pretty momentous weekend, and a pretty significant occasion, because it really was a culmination of years of teamwork and collaboration from people, 200 plus, 200 to 250 people from really across the globe. And so that was very significant for me personally. And then, the bittersweet memories, notable moments are really, every time we had to bid farewell to one of our Infosys teammates. It was bitter in the sense that, we had to bid farewell and let them go to their next project. But it was because really over the course of the last 2 years, they've really become part of our Citizens family, and they've become friends and family. And then, the sweet part of that is that they could leave. They could leave us confident that we would be able to operate the system on our own.
In my 25 years of working at Infosys, Jeff, I have never received a handwritten letter by a client, signed by the executive sponsor and the director, mentioning that so and so is leaving this program, and we want to make sure that he does well in his career going forward. I was pleasantly surprised to receive a letter like that from both of you for one of our employees. So thank you for that, and that means a lot to us. Curtis, any such moments that you would like to share? Any noteworthy moments?
Well, pretty much the same ones as Jeff, but I'll tell an interesting story related to what Jeff just said. Was a year before we went live, I was on vacation out of state, and it was almost exactly 1 year before the go live. And Jeff called me on my phone and said, we were talking about the project, and he told me, he goes, I think we know what our go live date is. And I said, oh, okay, what is it? And he said July 27th, 2020. And I'm just thinking to myself, you're a year out. There's no way you can predict that. That's ridiculous. You're crazy. Like, it's fine for you to tell me this, but don't go telling everybody else this, because there's no way 1 year in advance you can predict exactly when you're going to get it. And sure enough, we hit that date exactly. And that speaks to the quality of the people and the commitment to task that Jeff mentioned earlier, that not just the Citizens folks, but the Infosys folks, but they held themselves accountable throughout that process. And they actually, they called it literally 1 year in advance. They predicted their go live date and hit it.
Wonderful, thank you. That's good to hear. I'm sure you know this. Our first innovation hub in the US was opened in Indianapolis, Louisiana State. And some of the skills deployed in your program were from the local innovation hub. We are also starting a US education center in Indianapolis. It will be a state-of-the-art learning and enablement campus that will be the basis for expanding our digital capabilities across the globe and primarily addressing our US client needs. Have you had an opportunity to visit our Indianapolis hubs, Jeff, Curtis?
I have not yet.
Yeah, I have not been able to. We project demands did not allow me to go. Many of our team members were able to visit the site and celebrate the grand opening, etc. I've been by the education center, beautiful building near Indianapolis International Airport. Hope to get out there in the very near future once we're allowed.
Sure. We would love to welcome you there. We would love to showcase what we do from the hub and the training facilities that we are building and so on. So I would personally like to welcome you to our hub. Once the lockdown is over and things go back to normal, as they say. I have to ask this now, right? After this huge success, what's next? What are your future plans in enhancing customer experience? You are customer obsessed as an organization, so I'm sure you have already thought through your next steps and what you would like to do in next 2 to 3 years. Would you like to share some of that, Curtis, Jeff? Maybe Curtis, you can start.
Sure. So it's funny you say that. I think once we got done with this project, there was the realization that we'd kind of laid fertile ground for new projects and initiatives. So we're actually in the middle of kind of developing a 5-year plan around the customer experience, both on the back office side and the billing and customer service area that Jeff manages, as well as out in the field. So we're looking at a few things. Probably the most prominent project that I see on the horizon is going to be either a replacement or upgrade of our mobile workforce management system. I think that's almost certain to happen within the next couple of years, and having a new CIS system, being able to implement a new workforce management system that integrates well with that CIS. I think now we're very well positioned to replace that, and I couldn't have said that 2 years ago. So now I feel a lot more comfortable about where we're at with what we're looking at with that project. And then I think there's some self-service functionality. We're continuously asking ourselves, what is looking at different transaction types and interactions with customers, and we've identified a number of opportunities, especially on the digital side, where we think there are some opportunities for us to enhance experience. So the customer experiences. So I would expect that there's going to be some additional functionality and self-service options for customers. I think that's probably going to be the two areas that you'll see the most change.
Wonderful.
Yeah, and I would just echo that. I think our strategy has been to ensure that customers can execute any transactions that they would like to execute with Citizens on whatever channel that they choose. So again, expanding those self-service options across multiple channels has always been our strategy. And this platform is one that we think will provide us the foundation to deliver that ability.
Wonderful. And giving self-service options to customer also opens up for a lot of insights that you can derive, right? It's not just the volume of data, it's the velocity. You can get data at a much faster speed and therefore develop a better understanding of your customer base and customize offerings to your customers. So that seems like the right direction to go to. And thank you for taking the time today. Anything else you would like to share? Any other key highlights? Any other aspects of this program, Jeff, Curtis?
No, again, I just want to express our gratitude for the partnership and the excellent team that you assigned to Citizens throughout this process.
Thank you. Our team working with all of you.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's bittersweet. It's nice to have the project implemented, but we're going to miss having those Infosys folks around. They've just been great to work with all the way around.
Absolutely.
Thank you. And we truly enjoyed partnering with you. This was a great journey, and I'm sure this relationship will go from strength to strength. With that, I thank you for taking the time and sharing this moment with us. These are great memories for us as well, having done a complex program with you and having seen the success that we have. I'm very proud of the partnership, and I thank you again for taking the time.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dash.